Cut. Audiences get bored very easily. If there's not something blowing up in their face or an intense emotional discussion going on screen,
love is absolute. Yes! Yes! The kind of love that I'm talking about, it is absolute!
you'll probably see half the audience glancing down at their cell phones for something else to look at.
I can see you.
Filmmakers are tasked with the job of taking us from one wildly awesome place to the next without losing our interest. To make these jumps in time and space seamless, directors must cleverly use an almost invisible tool: transitions. A transition is simple. It's moving from one shot or scene to another. Now, the words transition and editing in reference to film are often used to mean the same thing. For the needs of this video, we're going to focus more on the transitional side of editing. Which brings us to a very important question. How does a filmmaker make movement between one time and or place interesting? One example is the movie The Devil Wears Prada. It's about a smart new college graduate who lands a job as an assistant to the demanding editor-in-chief of a high fashion magazine. If the graduate, Andy, can survive an entire year with Miranda, she will be given the opportunity to work at any paper she wants. But we don't have time to wait an entire year. Transitions to the rescue. Let's take a look at this scene. Andy has already been working for Miranda Priestley for a few weeks, and she's decided to amp up her personal clothing style in order to be less of an eyesore to her boss. Okay, so what exactly is this? It's not a one-shot that we see in many Hitchcock films, and it definitely isn't a typical montage or match cut that we are used to receiving in most narratives. A match cut is a transition that matches either actions, sounds, movement, or all three between two different shots or scenes. In a similar way, cutting on action does the same thing, matching the action of one clip to the next one after. We see this in a lot of action movies. Back to The Devil Wears Prada, this is matching on the action and cutting to it, but there's still a minor difference between the shots. Her clothing. Seeing that this movie is all about style, the director, David Frankel, decided to use the clothing the characters wore to show off their emotional states and growth. David Frankel is also no stranger to the art of montage. In other movies he's directed, he uses them extensively to get across large spans of time. So it's no surprise that you see a fashion montage here. Only we were missing one last thing. It's seemingly all one shot. A one shot or a long take is simply a shot that is seemingly a long, uninterrupted take that can, at times, take up an entire scene, or in the case of Birdman, an entire movie.
That's Sam, my daughter.
Oh, your daughter, wow.
When directors can't achieve the shot they want in one take, they'll often hide transitions through whip pans, turning the camera quickly and blurring the transition between the shots, or having vehicles, people, or objects pass through the shot, thus successfully hiding the cut. David Frankel is obviously a fan of the latter, while it may not be as blatant as it is in Star Wars. The transition used here is a simple wipe, a transition that is in even the simplest editing programs, cleverly hidden with some in-camera trickery. By using the busy, bustling life of New York City to hide the cuts, he not only smooths the transition, but also defines the world around Andy. She's more fashionable and trendy, but New York is still the same old New York.
You used to say this was just a job. You used to make fun of the runway girls. What happened? Now you've become one of them.
You look really pretty.
While she tries to change herself for someone else and a job she doesn't even like, life moves on. Her transition from lame to fabulous in movie time takes months, but for us as the audience, she gets there in a little over 30 minutes. While they may not be talked about much, transitions are truly the magic of a movie. And, when used properly, they can make a simple movie an experience you'll never forget.
You look good.